Hannah, if you don't mind, maybe I'd like to start with you and tell me, when you had the idea to create your business, what was the gap? What didn't exist? What were you trying to achieve?
I grew up in a small town in Norway, and what I felt was lacking was something that solved the stranger space, which is when we yet have to connect it with another person. And I think it was, living in this small town, being this entrepreneurial spirit, but feeling very stuck and wanting to connect with like-minded people. And that's when I thought, how can I solve this with technology? And watching way too much Oprah, being my teacher from very young age. And I think it is the fact that there is yet any good ways of connecting with someone virtually that we don't know, except for the dating industry, basically. So I thought about, okay, how do we make a stranger go from being a stranger to not stranger? And my conclusion with that was that if we can see who people are without meeting them, without being dependent on being geographically with them, we can change the stranger space and how we connect and basically view the entire world. So I founded something called Video Profiles, which is actually a couple of years ago, being early, when no one really understood the concept of video profiles. It's like, what is it? Why would I do a video profile of myself? And what would I use it for? So it's first the last half year, people are like, video identity of people. This might be the next generation online identity, which is what I thought of since I was 15. So it's exciting times to see that now video profiles is getting some attention.
Mm-hmm. Listen, if I remember correctly, the last time I saw you was last summer, as I was leaving at about 4 a.m. a party by Mikhail Prokhorov in St. Petersburg. And I saw you with your phone doing some videoing. And I said, Hannah, what are you doing? And you said, I'm Snapchatting here to send to an investor. And then the next thing I know, I read about the first ever investment that was raised via Snapchat, courtesy of Hannah. Was that the video? And does that set a precedent for how companies think about this type of topic?
Well, yeah, I'm all into Snapchat. Having worked in consumer technology for so many years, I'm obsessed with the new social technology out there, and Snapchat is my latest addiction. So when I did that, I got someone messaged me because I snapped from the World Economic Forum in Russia and some other events I was doing, and this investor snapped me and said, hey, why are you at all these great things? And what are you working on? You're working a lot. And because I work, obviously I work a lot, and I snapped that I work a lot. And then I snapped back what I was working on, and he's like, well, are you looking for investors? And I was like, yeah. And then we did an entire investment deal on Snapchat. Which and it wasn't a big amount or anything, but it was it was so interesting to see that you can use different types of methods to raise capital, and it's a way of visualizing your work, right? Which is hard, because getting out there and telling the world, this is my startup, this is my company, this is what I do, it's one of the hardest things you can do, no matter what you do. So social media is definitely one way of a new way of getting out there, and also in terms of capital.
Something tells me that you're going to see all of us Snapchatting immediately after this session comes to an end. But last question for now, before I move on. Listen, I think this is an issue that's close to your heart. I think it's reasonable to say that as a woman, CEO of a business in this field, and quite frankly in any field, you're definitely in the minority. Has that been an issue? Did that create obstacles? And on the more positive side, do you believe that your success is something that potentially opens up other opportunities?
Yeah, so I think the work I've had to put in is probably 10x what is the normal amount of energy one usually puts in to get to the same place. And I think I live this issue every day. On all the questions I get that I don't think male entrepreneurs get, the common thing I get is, what do you do for fun? which is like, I don't. I don't, like, I work, I want to change this world, I want to create a product. I'm not really like into fun, like what are you talking about? So I go through this every day. And I've been successful raising angel money, but we're now raising seed, and that's harder. When it comes to the bigger millions, you see that most investors are men, and their references are doing deals with men, and they are used to men being the one making the money, right? And I asked one of my investors, or angel investors recently, I said, how many women has made you money? And he thought about it, and he's like, 0. So, and to change that, we need the investors investing more in money, seeing it, because they will see it more as a risk, because the history isn't there of women entrepreneurs making billion-dollar companies. So it's a chicken and egg, because for me to build that billion-dollar company, I need that seed money, that couple of million, right, to do it. So we need a changing this, and I hope to, be able to lead some sort of way, and take the pain, because I can deal with pain. Kind of what makes me an entrepreneur. You have to be able to do that, and hopefully the path will be easier for the next generation ahead.